everyone, it's Laynie Lashes here and welcome to my channel. If you guys are new, oh my goodness, welcome. If you're returning, thank you so very much. It means the world to me that you guys would take the time out of your busy days to stop and hang out with me. Today is a very gloomy day here and I thought we would just sit, hang out, and do a chatty get ready with me. Please, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you click that subscribe button, join the Lash fam, you will not regret it, and I'm going to get into the Lash fam part here in just a minute. So anyways, if you want to get to know me better, stick around, and I want to get to know you guys better, so please interact with me and the family in the comments. Alright, let's go. So I got the eyebrows all trimmed up just now. Sometimes a good eyebrow trim can just make you feel like a new person. I'm really not going to be talking about the products in depth that I'm using. This is the Shiseido Synchro Skin blurring primer. I have really been enjoying it. I do feel like it does what it says. It blurs. Oh my gosh, hubby is delivering me coffee. How sweet. BRB. A fresh cup of joe. I love it, and the reason why they didn't bring it in here is because this room is hiding Christmas presents. Like I said, it is a gloomy day, so this cup of coffee is just gonna hit the spot. And it is a gloomy day, so the kiddo is playing inside. It's also getting to be the time of year in the Midwest where it's just not really play outside weather very often, so you'll probably hear a wild toddler listening to Miss Rachel or her Gummy Bear song or Baby Shark upstairs. I would apologize, but we live here. And I think this is just going to be like word vomit, and I'm just going to go with whatever comes to mind. I have nothing pre-thought out or pre-programmed or written down. I just wanted to talk to you guys. The one thing that is really on my mind today, and I really don't like to be negative here on my channel. I really like this to always be a light-hearted space where everyone can come and just relax and enjoy, because I feel like, you know, life can be hard enough, stressful enough, sad enough that sometimes you just don't want to feel negativity online. At least I feel that way a lot. But I also love to keep things real with you guys. Like, I'm always honest, real, very unfiltered, far from perfect. I feel like there's so much online that is filtered and it's perfect and it looks like everybody has the perfect life. I don't have a perfect life. I have a wonderful life. Don't get it twisted. I am extremely grateful for my life, for my health, for my mental health, but I am far from having the perfect Instagram life. Like, we are an average American household over here. We're just average Joes, truly, at like our heart, and in our daily functions. Like, I go to work, I take care of my kid, I pay bills, I go to the park, I hang out with a few mom friends here or there. Anyway, so what's been on my mind today, because I just went grocery shopping, and this is where I'm like, I hate being negative, but I also just want to be real with you guys. Like, I did some hauls after my brother passed away. Again, I hate being negative, but it's just the truth. Trigger warning, my brother took his own life in August. So the last few months have been really odd. And honestly, I'm doing well. I am doing as well as like when people ask me, how are you doing? I'm like, I'm doing as good as I can be. Sadly, this isn't my first battle with grief. So I know what grief is like, but I talked about this in my video. It's different when the person chooses to leave and when you just wish with all of your being that you could have lived for them. I talked to my counselor about this. She's like, you can't live for someone else. And it's just like, oh my gosh, I wish I could have, and I wish I could have taken all of his pain and problems away and just helped him. But my brother lived across the across the globe. He lived in Japan, so 14-hour time difference. COVID, hadn't seen each other since before the pandemic. And so it was out of our control. I honestly think a lot of it was out of his control. I told you I would talk about this at a later date, and I guess now's the time because I want to sit down and have a real heart-to-heart. about a month ago, it felt like a slap in the face. So I'm not going to share all kinds of details because it's my brother's life. I'm not going to, share things that I don't feel comfortable sharing about his life. But one thing that I know is true is a lot of his depression was brought on by COVID. A lot of it. And he is not alone across the globe with that. So many people ended up getting severe anxiety, depression with all that was up in the air during COVID, people not feeling safe, people being isolated, and my brother became extremely isolated. He was a single guy, he lived alone, and he was very isolated. I think he handled it well for the first year, but then 1 year became 2 years. And in Japan, they weren't giving the vibe at all that they were ever going to go back to normal. And my brother was really struggling with covering his face at work. He was a teacher, so speaking in front of an entire class, college class, a big class of people, with a mask over his face, trying to teach another language to people that didn't speak his language. My brother was extremely fluent in Japanese, extremely fluent, spoke beautiful Japanese, to the point where people would stop him on the street and tell him how talented he was at speaking Japanese because he spoke it like it was his language. In fact, when he would speak English when he would come home, the flow of his words didn't sound like he was raised in America because he was so ingrained in speaking Japanese and had lived there for so long. And so he was very talented at it. But when you get in front of a classroom and you can't see your students' mouths and they can't see your mouth teaching a language, if any of you are teachers or friends with teachers, you've probably heard your teacher friends say how hard all of that was. Well, this went on for years for him. And he started to get severe anxiety over wearing the mask. He even tried to clear shield, but at that point he was too far gone and the anxiety was too high that it was no relief, and he just felt like it was never going to end. It got to the point where he was at school having panic attacks, having to go into the nurse's office at the school because he was so distraught. And for a man who is grown, who has always been able to be strong and function and never had these issues, I think that was a serious blow to his ego. I mean, who wouldn't feel uncomfortable having to do that at your workplace? When I talked to him, it just felt like that was never going to go back to normal. And I think he was missing home here in the States so badly because we were, for the most part, back to normal, or at least back to where it was your choice if you wanted to wear a face covering, which I think, like many of us, we're fine with. If you're more comfortable wearing a face mask and that makes you feel protected from the virus, go for it. But I think, like many of us, we were to a point where we'd either had it or we had our vaccination to where we didn't feel the need to wear a mask anymore. And he didn't feel like he was ever going to get that choice again. Well, like 4 weeks after my brother took his own life, Japan decided to open, go back to normal. When my dad and I found out that information, it really felt like an extreme slap in our face, a slap in my brother's face. He had lost hope that that was ever going to happen. And it's like, your gut's just screaming, my gosh, I just wish you just could have made it a few more weeks, like the end was in sight. But none of us knew that. And so that was a hard blow to take. And it has caused a rebound effect in my life to where here in the States, thankfully, and where I live, it all depends on where you live. For the most part, we are mask free except for at doctor's offices. And in one way, I totally understand that because a lot of people go to the doctors when they're sick or when they have COVID. So it's like, part of me is so understanding. And you can judge me if you want for this statement. I'm at a point in my life where it's like, all I can do is be real, be myself, and state how I feel. And if you don't agree with it, that's okay. Like, I truly believe a beautiful thing that we have is the fact that we don't all have to agree on everything. Like, I love that. I think it's wonderful. I'd rather us all beat to our own drum. But after what my brother went through, and my daughter approaching her 2nd birthday, and in a lot of these doctor's offices, it's 2 is the age where you have to mask your child. Michonne was a COVID baby. She was born during it all, and I feel so lucky that she has not been at an age yet where she has to wear a mask. But we are approaching that stage where I know some of these doctor's offices are going to want her to wear a mask, and I've decided I don't want her to. I want her little, beautiful, innocent childhood to stay that. And for me, strapping a mask to her face when she's not old enough to understand it, it just doesn't feel right in my gut as her mama. And after what my brother went through, I guess it's triggering for me. The idea of putting that mask on her face and her being possibly afraid or confused, like, can't do it. I cannot do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. I don't know. Are we going to have to find a different pediatrician? Are we going to be able to find a pediatrician that, doesn't make her wear a mask when she turns 2? I'm going to definitely talk with the office we go to about it, because here in my state, some things are starting to change with some doctor's office, but I think it's at the doctor's discretion. And again, I believe the doctor's office has the right to say they are more comfortable if people wear a mask when they come in. But then I'm going to have to find a place that feels the opposite way, because it would be different to me if she was like 4 or 5 and I could explain it to her why they want her to wear it. And again, this is no judgment. If you are a parent who feels safer having your babies wear a mask, go for it. Like, I am not a judgmental person, especially after maybe pre-kids I was. I had all these ideas pre-kids, like, I would never let my kid do this or that, or, my kid's not going to sleep with me. But after having kids, I am not judgmental. I feel like you got to do what you feel is best, and I got to do what I feel is best. And in my mama gut, it doesn't feel best to put my little one in a mask, especially at the age where I just can't explain it to her and she doesn't understand. And I know a lot of this is my own life circumstance after what happened to my brother, and you might not agree with that, but I'm just telling you that, like, that's been one thing that's been weighing heavy on my mind with her turning 2. As the year is speeding by, I'm just like, oh, she'll be 2 before we know it, and then I'm gonna have to, like, am I gonna have to find another pediatrician? I don't know. I really like her pediatrician. We've been going to him from day 1, but I just gotta do right by what feels right in my gut. So that's been weighing on my mind a little bit. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Like, how do you feel? Are you someone who feels safer having your kiddo in a mask, or are you fine with the pediatrician asking you to do that? And what is the age of your kiddo? I would seriously love to hear your guys' input on that. And then the other thing that I told you this is going to be all over the place, so some of my flow of conversation probably does not make any sense. But anyways, back to my mindset has been pretty good with my brother passing away. It's like I know I have no control over it now. He's already gone. It hits me like a ton of bricks some days though, you guys. Truly like a ton of bricks. And I try to share those moments on Instagram, not because I want sympathy or anything like that, because I want to show what grieving is like. It's not a one day you just wake up and it's all fine. Some days you do wake up and it's all fine. You're like, okay, I got this. Like, I got this. It's not weighing on me today. And then a song can come on that can remind you of your loved one, or just a little thought, like one that catches me off guard every now and then. It'll be like, because I used to always ask my dad, have you talked to Justin? So sometimes, like, I want to be like, have you talked to Justin? And it's like, no, of course not. Or I should call Justin. That one got me bad one day when I was driving. I was just driving, and I like to call people when I'm in the car because I have the phone that comes through the radio. And one day I was driving and I was thinking, I should call Justin. I need to check on him. And it's like, gosh, darn it. That is the one thing that sticks with me, is towards the very end of his life, I thought, I should call him. I need to check in. But I was like, yeah, I'll do it soon. And that is one thing that I'm like, now if I feel like I should call someone or I should text someone, I'm going to do it. I'm not waiting. I'm going to do it. Because you never know what's going on in someone's life. You never know what's going on in the universe, and when the universe is going to decide it's time to take someone you love away. So make the calls, send the texts, check in on people. The one thing I will be open and honest with you guys about, because why not, is ever since my brother passed away, I've really been struggling with my eating issues. I've always had issues with being overweight since I was a little girl. I know a lot of it stems from losing my mom at a young age, and my dad was trying his best to raise me by himself, but we didn't always eat healthy. I didn't learn great eating habits at all, and I have a terrible sweet tooth. I also think I got that from my dad. I was doing so good after I had Michonne, so good, but then things change. Like when you get a kid, like I just took one from the grocery store. When you have a kid, you get in a routine in certain stages of life, and I was in this stage when she was younger where I was walking all the time for my mental health, and it helped me so much. But then, you know, my mental health improved and she got a little older and a little busier, and she doesn't want to be in her stroller for 2 hours at a time to go for a walk. Right now she doesn't want to be in her stroller for like 8 minutes at a time. You know, I got back to my normal. My mental health has been good. So I wasn't overanalyzing every bite I was taking, like when I was struggling, because I was so concerned about sodium after having Michonne because of my blood pressure issues. So I like would not eat like anything that had any like amount of sodium. Like I was very regimented to a point where that probably wasn't healthy. So then my mental health gets better and I go back to work, and where I work we have access to snacks and coffees and Starbucks, you know, and these things that are not always the healthiest. And I'm like, you know, my Thursday treat is I'm going to pick up Starbucks before I start work because it's my long day and I deserve it. And then it's also just like since my brother passed, it just really, the momentum of not eating healthy really started rolling downhill. And there for a while it was just because I just didn't have it in me to care like about what I was eating. I definitely didn't have it in me to care about tracking calories or anything like that, because I was doing really good for a while of tracking my calories, and that is actually very helpful. It is a lot of work, I won't lie, tracking your calories. It really opens your eyes to like how many calories are in things or what an actual serving size is. So I got away from that, and then it was just like I didn't have the energy to try harder. Well, and now I feel like I'm at a point where I'm getting the energy to try harder, but that you get in that habit of reaching for the things you shouldn't or eating more than you should, and definitely find myself eating when I'm still full or wanting to snack on sweet things just because, even though I'm not hungry at all, and I see it and I know it. It's just I need to reprogram my brain and make those things habits, and it can be really hard, you know. It's just like it's just hard to change that mindset and that way of being. I got on the scale this morning and I'm like, yep, it's time to be better. And I've never been a person who feels like I'm gonna be perfect. Like, I am a foodie, okay? I love food. I love, you know, celebrating with food. I do love having treats and special occasions. I was telling my friend who's done an amazing job with her health journey is that I need more balance, and I want to be more balanced, and I'm feeling the change in the way my clothes fit. You know, to me there's not a set like I need to be skinny. Like, no, I don't need to be skinny. I haven't been skinny since I was like 7. I don't need to be skinny to be happy. I want my clothes to fit comfortably. I want to feel confident, and I want to feel healthy. That's what matters to me. I don't need to be perfect. Like, I'm not going to be the person that only survives off of salads and cuts out every carb in the world. If it works for you, there's nothing wrong with that. My boss is doing low carb, and she's done an amazing freaking job. She looks great and she feels great. But that's not my path. That's not my journey, and that's okay. I want balance. That's what I want to get back to, is balance. I have been really proud of myself. I am working out regularly. I go to the gym, I would say 4 days a week. Sometimes maybe a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less, but I mean, I'm going regularly, and it has been wonderful, and I usually look forward to it, and even on the days I don't look forward to it, I still go, and I think that's incredible. So I'm proud of myself for that. But I know that, like, really for health, your diet is a huge part of that. Working out, obviously, very important, but diet, if I want to see the scale improve at all, for my clothes to fit better, I know that I'm going to have to change my eating habits. And it's like you just have to come to a point where you make the decision to actually do it. Sometimes for me it's really hard to get to that point and to stay in that spot. I have always been a person who struggles with consistency in anything. I am an Aries. We love to start projects, but we don't like to finish them. So I know that is my struggle. I am a human being, and I'm not gonna be perfect. I don't need to be perfect. I just want to be balanced and healthy. So have you guys been struggling with anything like that lately? I do know that a lot of us gained weight during COVID, so you are not alone. I am not alone. And I also know my body is just going to be different now. I'm in my 30s, like I had a kiddo. The one thing that's really surprised me in gaining a little bit of weight back is that I get it in my belly now, and that never used to be a thing pre-having kiddos. It's like, oh, this is different. I always gained it in like my legs and my arms and my face. It's like, yes, that is still happening, but it's also going to the tummy, which it never really did before. So I went grocery shopping, I got lots of healthy stuff, and I'm also just realizing that there are certain things for me that I don't have the willpower to stay away from. And the big one is ice cream. Ice cream is my weakness. I love ice cream. Every other dessert on the planet could disappear tomorrow. If there's ice cream, I would be totally fine. Like, I love ice cream. So I've just decided, like, Laynie, you cannot buy it. Or if you're gonna buy it, it needs to be when you have a house full of guests and everybody has like a nice little portion, you know, and it's not sitting around in your freezer, because I don't have self-control when I have ice cream. So I should just not buy it. Like, instead, it would honestly be better for us just to go out as a family for a little ice cream night, like every once in a while. Because, you know, you have your pre-portioned amount, you get your small cone, your medium cone, and that's it. It's not sitting in your freezer for you to have night after night. So it's like these self-realizations, you know, you just gotta realize your strengths and your weaknesses, and my strength is not ignoring ice cream if it's in the house. You know, because it's like, I can go out for a coffee at Starbucks or at our local coffee shop, and I don't have to get the most sugary sweet drink I can. Because for me, it's also the experience of going to the coffee shop is like enjoyable for me. I can't keep ice cream in the house and actually think I'm only gonna eat a little bit. I also realized, like, I really don't need to buy pumpkin spice creamer. And it's not even like that's like the end of the world calories wise or anything, but it's just like, I don't need it. Instead, why don't I save that for a small pumpkin spice latte one day a week? Get my little pumpkin spice in these winter months, you know. It's a little sweet treat. It still feels special because I'm going into the coffee shop, but I don't need sugary pumpkin spice creamer every day in my coffee. It's the balance I'm trying to work on. I need the balance. Do you guys have any tips or tricks or anything that works well for you, or things you know you can't keep in the house because you cannot say no to them? Does anyone else have a household like this? I've struggled with my weight our entire relationship. My husband and I have been together 12 years. He has loved me at my lightest, at my heaviest. Like when he met me, I was not a skinny mini, and I love that about him. My husband is naturally very slender. He just is. His mom is the same way. Honestly, his mom is like, should be a science project, because the woman snacks constantly but somehow stays thin. Like, I wish. And so it is hard though, because my husband doesn't really have to worry about his weight. Like, he's lost weight without trying. He, you know what I mean? Like, he skips a soda pop one day a week and loses 5 pounds. I look at a soda pop and I gain 5 pounds. That is a struggle, because it's like, I know it boils down to my own willpower. Really, it does. I do know this at my core, but it is hard when you have a weakness for sweet treats and you're like, do you want to go get, you know, a milkshake downtown tonight? And your husband, who never has to worry about it, is like, yeah, let's do it. So, one of us has to have willpower, and that person needs to be me. Dang it, I know it. And I was telling my friend, who has done an amazing job with her health journey, is that not only do I majorly want to do this for myself, I want to be a better role model for my daughter, because I know a lot of my bad eating habits were learned behavior. And I'm sure many of you understand, because I feel like, especially if you're a 90s baby, like Oreos, Lunchables, fruit roll-ups, like those were the staple items you ate every day at school, and Gushers. And you know, we did not have the parents, or at least I didn't have the parents. They weren't like packing me, you know, little lettuce wraps and nuts and berries for my lunches, like a lot of parents do now. I don't want my daughter to struggle the way I have, and I want her to be active and healthy and balanced. Like, I also will never be the mom that she goes to a birthday party, is like, you can't eat that. Again, if I have friends who are like that, who are very much like no to sugar and dyes and stuff like that, I get it. Like, I really try to be balanced. I don't personally buy products that have artificial flavors or colors to keep in our house. So like I totally get it. Again, this is not judgment. This is just my experience. But I won't be that mom if we go to a birthday party that says you can't have a cupcake. Like, I want her to have that experience, and I want her to, you know, do those things that I did as a kid, but in a much more balanced nature. Okay, if Monday through Thursday we eat home-cooked meals that are way more nutritionally beneficial than they are not. And then on Friday night, if we want to order out a pizza and eat a couple slices of pizza, that's okay. It's just finding the balance that I need to be so much better with, and I really lost sight of after my brother passed away. And I feel like it became an excuse to overindulge and to treat myself kindly by not treating myself kindly. That's one thing. I was watching a podcaster, and I can't remember who it is, but she was talking about how she really struggled with a lot of autoimmune issues, and she went to a very rigid diet, which more power to her. I mean, very rigid, and she felt so much better. But like when she was going through the basically withdrawals of cutting out unhealthy foods, which it does feel honestly like food can totally be an addiction. Sugar can definitely be an addiction. And it's like when you're used to eating those things, like you crave them terribly when you're giving them up. So she was saying when she was powering through these severe cravings she was having, she would actually tell her mind, like, that's not my body craving that sugary treat. It is the bad bacteria in my gut that's been thriving off of these products, these food options that aren't healthy. And so I thought that was just very interesting, because as much as I'm talking about, no, I will never be the 100% perfect picture of healthy eating, I do think she has a very valid point about when we crave things, a lot of times it's not because our body is craving them. Like, I ate really good a couple weeks ago for like a solid week, really good, and I felt great. I was sleeping better. I just felt more energetic. I didn't feel weighed down and heavy like when you're eating heavy foods or you're overeating, and I just felt really good. And it really was like an aha moment that I just need to carry with me into everyday life, because I was like, I feel so much better. And that is because our bodies are not craving all that junk food and, you know, foods and sugars. Our bodies are craving things that are good for us. And I actually see it with my daughter. For example, she eats toaster waffles for breakfast. It's a nice little easy treat. I put usually peanut butter or almond butter on there to add in some protein. And if I give that to her multiple days in a row, she doesn't want it, because I think her body is saying like, nope, I've had enough of this. And I could set a package of raspberries in front of her, and she's not even 2, and bowl of, I don't know, like rice or something, and she would much rather have the raspberries. And I think that is because her body is so new to the world. It hasn't been inundated with years of sugar and junk foods, that her body knows what it needs. And I just find that very interesting. And I think it is kind of proof that, you know, we are meant to eat more healthy than we're meant to not. Even though it is, I do feel like there's so much out there that is always pushing food at us. Like, there's always food ads, and like I'm always getting mail of coupons and stuff that I'm like, oh, look at this, this is a good deal, I should keep this. And it's like, no, I don't need more things pushing me to be reaching for unhealthy fast food. Or it is like, I just got to get back to thinking like that and taking those steps seriously and taking care of myself and not making excuses, because the instant gratification of reaching for those unhealthy foods, like, it feels good in the moment, but when you feel like crap the next day, or, you know, the scale's creeping up, it's like, not worth it. But it is really hard to get away from that instant gratification. And I'm talking about this stuff because I know I'm not alone in feeling this. Like, I feel like there's actually probably more of us out there who struggle with the balance than don't struggle with the balance. So that is why I talk about these topics. Like, I don't like to be negative or not lighthearted, but I think it's important for us to find connection with each other. When you know someone else is struggling or going through something similar, it just, at least for me, it makes me just feel like, oh, okay, I'm not alone. Like, oh, okay, I'm not a terrible mom because I struggle with balance, or because, you know, I eat things that I shouldn't be in front of my kiddo because I'm a human being and I'm flawed, but I can work on improving it. And that's really the big thing. Like I tell my employees at work when we're training them, like, when you make a mistake, own up to it. We're all humans. We literally all make mistakes, but we learn from mistakes. And looking back at even my work career over the last 9 years, like, the times I learned were from the times I screwed something up, because then it sticks in my mind. The next time I go to do that, I'm like, oh, I don't want to screw up again. Like, I got to do it this way instead. So bringing that into my lifestyle when it comes to food is really important. And I do love movement that's kind of going on. I'm gonna have to wrap this up a little bit quickly, but I love the movement that's going on with kind of having a better outlook on food. I think in some ways, some accounts I've seen online go too far, where it's like, you know, basically saying like a pack of Cheetos and, you know, steamed broccoli are equal. Like, I get what they're saying in that, like, yes, I don't think because you decide to eat a handful of Cheetos one day on your lunch break means that you should, like, beat yourself over the head about it for a month. Like, I totally get that. But I think that some of that goes too far, because obviously, like, steamed broccoli is going to do a lot better for your body than a handful of Cheetos. But again, it's balance. As long as you have found the balance, unlike me, and you know, you have a handful of Cheetos instead of a bag of Cheetos, and that's where I'm at. It's like, no, okay, I need to learn to have the handful and not the bag full. Thankfully, I'm not really a salty person. That is like the one thing, like, I can have a handful of chips and be totally satisfied. It's the ice cream and the sweets that I'm like, no, give me more, give me more. And I do think breaking the sweets addiction, I will call it that, a sweets addiction, is the hardest. Food, I do believe, when I've watched some documentaries about food addiction, it really is like the hardest struggle to break, because unlike an illegal substance, you know, you don't have to have that illegal substance to literally live. Like, you have to actually eat to live. And we're inundated with food advertising, and oh my gosh, where I live, we have every restaurant you could ever literally imagine. We have them all. That's like, it's like unreal. Every time a new building's going up, I'm like, maybe we're gonna get something cool to do. No, it's another restaurant. And eating here is extremely social. Like, everybody I know, like, it's not like, hey, come over to my house, let's like hang out. It's like, let's meet at this restaurant. And so it's like, eating is so social, and it's all of our holidays and our festivities. Like, it's so ingrained in everything that we do. It really is the hardest bad habit to break. It is very hard, very, very hard. But I just want to find that balance. That's what I want. I don't want to be perfect. I will never be perfect. I am far from a perfect human being. If you've made it this far, also, thank you so much for still being here with my rambly rambles of the day. The last thing I was going to touch on really quickly is, anyone else feeling the serious pinch of the prices in this country? I hate to be negative again, but every time I check out groceries, I want to like pass out. Does anyone else feel that way? Like, my husband and I feel like if you looked at our salaries, are better off than we had been like 3 years ago, but it feels like we're in a worse position. And I knew having kiddos, like, it changes everything financially. Like, having my daughter was really expensive. The medical bills were really expensive. Like, it took us 1.5 years to get that paid off, and we're still paying off her stem cell storage. And we have a credit card we're trying to pay off, and we're trying to get our car paid off. And it's just like, oh my gosh, it's just like, ah. And the reason why I mentioned my shopping earlier, this is where I was coming to this, and it took me like a really long way to get here, is after my brother passed away, I did some shopping, okay? I spent more money than I should have. I will be real with you. I'm not a perfect human being again. I spent more than I should have. Like, obviously, I didn't spend something that was gonna like make us homeless or anything like that. But could I have spent my money more wisely? Yes. But in the moment, I was using shopping to give me that instant gratification and make me feel a little bit better. And I mean, my perfume collection does make me really happy. But anyways, now looking back with these prices going up and up and up, I'm like, holy crap, a little bit buyer's remorse, because it's like, I could have used that $300 on something else. And we just went grocery shopping, and I just did a massive grocery haul over Halloween, which just happened, and it's like my fridge was already empty. It's just like, how, there's only 3 of us. For those of you with multiple kids, I seriously feel for you. I do. These prices are getting crazy, and I'm very concerned about what they're going to be like through this winter because I heard prices are going to go up on everything again. And are you making it? Are you doing okay? Like, seriously, I'm asking this to you. Are you guys doing okay? We're riding the struggle bus over here. I try to count my blessings because I know it could be far worse. Like, truly, it could be far worse. I've got a roof over my head. We're clothed. Like, we can go get takeout on a Friday night and, you know, it's not like we're sweating over it. But my God, every time a new bill comes in, it's just like, holy crap. It just feels like the light at the end of the tunnel is just out of reach when it comes to being financially stable. It's like I hate having debts, and we have our car debt, the stem cell debt, and a little bit of credit card debt we're trying to pay off because we had used for our vacation to Florida. It's just like, I hate having those loom over me. Are you guys like that? Like, I don't like having debt, and every time I get groceries and I see the cost of it or I get a new bill in, I'm like, oh, I was hoping to have that $300 to put towards this bill, and now I don't. Enough about me and all of my woes and whatnot. Really, I swear, I have far more good days than I have bad days, and I really am blessed, and I know it, and I count my blessings very often because, again, I mean this. I know it could be so much worse, and so many people have it far, 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 far worse than me, so I'm not looking for sympathy in any way, shape, or form. I just am trying to basically throw out a line to you guys, like, you are not alone. If you are financially struggling right now, you are seriously not alone. I work in an industry where I see it all the time, and I know it's hard right now. Like, so many people, it's just after COVID, it has been hard, and I know that, and I just want you guys to know that I am thinking of you all. I am here, this community is here, and the reason why I started my video with Lash Fam is because I'm getting back to that. Okay, I've decided I'm not going to change my channel name. If you're new here, I used to be called Laynie Lashes. That was the name of my channel, and after I had my daughter, it just didn't feel quite right anymore because I wanted to mix in more than just beauty content. I'm really into fragrance now. Like, it's definitely a huge passion of mine. I'm also into some lifestyle and, you know, sharing just more than just beauty, because I still love, like, putting on makeup. Love it. It's my go-to, like, relax time, refresh time from the chaos of day-to-day life. I'm not like a run out to the store and grab every new makeup item there is anymore. So I just felt like Laynie Does Life was kind of more encompassing of what I wanted here on my channel. But I have missed so much calling you guys my Lash Fam. Like, at my core, like, you guys, so many of you have been here since day one, which has been like 6 or 7 years now. I don't even know, a long time. Maybe 9 years. Maybe, because I think I started this the same year I started with my company. So it's like 8 or 9 years now. So you guys have been here the long haul. Thank you. I appreciate it. This outlet, like, gives me so much joy and makes me remember who I am outside of being a mom every day. So thank you. And it just announced that we can have YouTube handles, and I created a handle a long time ago, and I don't know how I was able to do that since it's a new thing, but my handle was Laynie Lashes. For a minute I thought about changing it, and then I was like, no, I don't want to change it because I am Laynie Lashes. I will always be Laynie Lashes, but this is Laynie Does Life here, and you guys are my Lash Fam, and that's what this boils down to. I'm bringing back the hashtag Lash Fam because I miss it. I miss calling you guys that, and you seriously are a part of my family. After this many years and sharing as much of my life as I have with you guys, like, you truly are a part of my family. So yeah, I'm bringing back the hashtag Lash Fam. So if you made it this far in the video, you're amazing. Thank you. And I think I'm done ranting. This, I'll probably get to editing and want to die on the inside because the train of my thought probably made no sense. It was like from one point to another, but I just want to be real with you guys and share the realness that's going on here in my life with you all, because I know you are real too. Like, the world isn't filtered, and we don't all look like we have an Instagram life. So anyway, thank you so much for being here. I do have to leave because we have to get to my dad's house, but seriously, if you made it this far, thank you. And as always, please try to stay positive, because at the end of the day, that is truly all we can try to do. Thank you so, so, so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.